Hi there guys, it's me again, and today I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm going to be doing a beginner's tips video for Dota 2. So these are just things, random things basically I want beginners to know, and should be some solid stuff, and some stuff are more very basic and some are a little bit more in-depth, but I don't know, that's just things you should know and things you should keep in mind when playing Dota 2 as a beginner. We're talking about the real beginner now. So let's get started, guys. Something that's very hard for a beginner to do, it's last hitting. It's pretty hard to actually learn to do that pretty well. I'm not a pro myself at last hitting. I miss a lot of last hits, but it's definitely worth it, like trying to actually improving last hitting. You're gonna get a lot more items, you're gonna win more fights, you're gonna push more towers, you're gonna do whatever you want to do with your money, but I mean that's the core thing. You want to have farm in this game, and you want to have a decent farm. If you are struggling with last hit in Dota 2 and you're playing a melee character, you may want to get a Quilling Blade, because it's gonna help you get those last hits a lot easier. You should definitely try it out if you haven't. It's gonna help your farm a lot. Also with the Quilling Blade you can destroy trees, which means you can escape some bad situations, and I don't know, you can escape, and it's a nice escape, and you can also like go into the forest with your Quilling Blade and just land a nice pudge hook. I don't know, it can be very useful. So you can deny in Dota 2, which means if you last hit your own creep, the enemy is gonna get no farm. He's not gonna get the gold for that creep, obviously, but also he's gonna get less experience. So denying creeps is very important. You may not really do that as a beginner in Dota 2. You're not really gonna focus. It's better if you just train your last hit, get some gold and farm. You just don't put too much weight into denying creeps. But it's definitely something you should know that you can do, because it can give you a level advantage and farm advantage. That's what you want to have in Dota 2 if you want to have a successful lane. So denying towers in Dota 2 is huge, because if an enemy gets a tower, it doesn't even have to be an enemy, it can be an enemy creep getting a tower kill. Every single enemy on the map is gonna get gold. Which, even if they're not even close to the tower, which means denying a tower, you're gonna deny them a lot of gold. Which, that's what you want to do. You can deny it at very low HP. Sometimes it's hard to deny a tower if the enemy is pushing the tower. You shouldn't risk your life denying a tower. It's not what I'm saying, but if you can, do it, because it's gonna help you out tremendously. In Dota 2 you have runes, and rune spawns at the 0-minute mark, at the 2-minute mark, 4, 6, 8 and so on. Like at the even mark. It spawns a random rune either at top river or bottom river. Randomly, it's not like either way, it's totally random when it comes to where it spawns. It can be lower, it can be top. It's gonna be haste, double damage, illusions or invisibility. Good thing to know, you want to have rune control when you play this game, if possible, because runes, they're buffs, and you want to have buffs. That's a great thing to have. You can actually store runes in your bottle if you have a bottle, which is nice. You just walk up to the rune, you just take it with your bottle, so to speak, you just right click it, and you can use it at a later time when you're ganking or doing something hefty. If you're having rune control, you may want to get the rune to the guy with a bottle, because it's gonna help his regeneration, and it's gonna help his early game. Later in the stages of the game, not too important I guess, but the early game you wanna have the guy with a bottle to get the runes, usually. Something that's pretty good to know is that you can refill your bottle with a Courier. You just go get it with a Courier, go back to the base and just give it back to the hero who has the bottle. That's a pretty good thing to know. You can especially early on, you want to do that. So if you really are a beginner at this game, you may want to avoid picking junglers, because they're not very easy. You're gonna know the rotations, and you potentially gonna leave a teammate that may be a beginner as well, as solo lane against a dual lane, which could not work out the way you want it to. So keep that in mind. Don't go junglers unless you know your lane partner is gonna be like a smurf or something who can handle himself. Also, think about not picking too much microing heroes, because microing is kind of hard. I think I suck with microing. I can't control more than one unit at once, basically. So maybe you have a lot of experience in that area. I don't know. If you do, sure, go ahead. But usually it's very hard for beginners to play microing heroes. Probably the most underrated item in the lower brackets are wards. You need to buy wards, man. Even if you're not playing support, if your team did not ward, you do it, because it's gonna help your team win. And it's gonna help you guys survive. It's gonna help you guys play aggressively if you want that as well. Like, speak with your teammates, man. Call misses. If an enemy team in your lane is missing, he's been gone for a little while. Like, oh, wonder where he went, man. Just call the miss. Maybe he's ganking mid lane or top lane or whatever. He's gonna be gone. So you wanna let your teammates know that. That's very importantly, and it's very easy to do, and it's gonna help your team out a lot. But you should never trust your teammates like 100%. Always check the minimap for misses or I don't know, unusual activities, if you want to call it like that. I don't know. Always have an eye on the minimap. I know it's hard. I'm not the best at the weirdness myself. I do a lot of mistakes, just like any other player, but you know, it's gonna help you out a lot if you just check the minimap as often as possible. You don't need to like stare at it for 10 seconds. You just check it. You check it every now and then. It's gonna help you out a lot. So I'm not the best drafter or picker in the world, but you need to think twice. That's a good tip, actually. Just think twice before you're picking a hero. Look at your team, look at what they want, speak with your team. You have enough time to like get a decent team going on. You don't have to go to like pro picks or anything like that. Just think, do you have support? Do you have at least one support? One guy that could be kind of beefy, not really tanky. You don't really need a tank in every team lineup, but someone with a lot of beef. Not everybody needs to be like squishy and stuff. You have too much DPS, just go something, just think. You do have some stun, some CC, just thinking twice when you're picking a hero is usually gonna work out quite alright. Also, something that's gonna happen a lot for beginners is you build just damage. All you wanna have is damage, and keep that in mind. It's not too effective to build like a glass cannon. You need to build some survivability. Personally I prefer, and I know many prefer, to build survivability first and then just go straight damage. So basically get a vanguard or something and then get like crystals or whatever you wanna have for damage, but try get some survivability, and preferably before you get damage, so that you can lane and get farm quicker and easier. It's kind of hard to learn this by default, but it's gonna come to you eventually. Carry your teleport scroll, man. Like that's one of the most important things you can do for your team, just to have a nice teamwork going on, because you can counter gank, you can counter push, you can get to point A to point B easier, you know, like back and forth to the base to regenerate HP. And that's gonna take a lot of time just by walking if you don't have teleports. Like walking across the map takes a while. You're gonna lose a lot of farm and a lot of XP doing that. And something else that's good with the teleport is you can teleport away from a fight. If an enemy hero is like hitting you and you know, I'm not gonna be able to escape this, just TP to the base. Like that's all you have to do. Most of the items in Dota are just situational, really. They are. I mean, you should definitely learn the items as good as you can. It's gonna take time to actually know all the items, but it's good to know which one can be activated, which ones gives you boost, or which one gives you an aura, or whatever. You wanna know what they can do. So, if your team kills Rocha, you're gonna get a buff. That buff is gonna let whoever picked up the buff to revive whenever he dies, which is huge in team fights. It's very good buff, and you're gonna use that to your best advantage. Don't go waste the buff. Don't do that. You don't want to do that. I've seen so many people just go like 1 versus 3 or 5 or something and just die, and they just think like, oh no, I'm gonna revive again. It's no big deal, man. Chill out, bro. But it's a big deal though, because if they kill you once and you're alone, they're gonna kill you again. No problem. It's not even gonna hurt them, probably, most of the time. So that's a huge waste. You're gonna just die twice, which is super bad, and you just wasted an entire Roshan. Try to avoid the enemy jungle. That's not a safe zone, but you should definitely use your own jungle. That's a lot safer place, especially if you have it warded. Farm your own jungle whenever your creep wave is pushed farther enough so that you really don't want to be there. Like, if you think it's dangerous to farm up there, just go back to the jungle. Because so many people just farm the lanes and you get pushed so far up ahead and you're gonna get ganked and killed very easily. So push the lane a little bit, go farm the jungle, go back. So guys, that's all the tips I'm gonna give to you guys today. And if you're a beginner at Dota, definitely watch this video and try get what I'm saying, because it's gonna help you improve your game a lot quicker than I did. I didn't have any guides or tutorials to learn from when I first started the MOBA genre, so to speak, and I had a hard time for a long time. Let me know if you guys like this. I'm gonna make some more probably in the future, maybe more in-depth guides or tutorials or tips and tricks. These are very basic, so have a good one guys. I will talk to you guys later. Kisses and hugs and all that good shit.